Hi everyone, and welcome to today's episode of See You Next Tuesday podcast. We have a new guest today called Natasha O'Leary. She is an ADHD coach and hypnotherapist, and can be found on all social media platforms under Chaotic Chaos.
Kind Chaos.
Oh, Kind Chaos.
So, tell us about what you do.
So, very long story short, I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was 13 and had a very turbulent, teenage years, trying to work it out and trying to understand why my brain felt like it worked so differently to loads of other people. And then when I hit 18, I threw myself into the corporate world and basically got really burnt out. And a few years ago, left a really toxic job with a really horrible narcissist boss who was really nasty to me, and decided that I was going to sort of go into something that felt like it was right for me and I felt passionate about. So now I help people with brains like mine, or people with anxiety, self-esteem issues, confidence issues, to basically take their power back a little bit and take control of their life and accept themselves and be able to live authentically without feeling like they have to squash themselves or fit a square peg into a round hole. Is that the same?
Yeah.
So that's basically what I do, and most of the work I do with people is just around learning to make their own choices for what suits them, and learning to live with a funny little brain that not many people understand.
So when you say about your funny brain, can you try and put that into words for us?
Yes, I think we touched on it before, but I have always felt like ADHD is the wrong label for what, I know you hate this word, but neurodivergent people go through. There's lots of labels within that, and I think had I been, rather than just being, and actually it's happening more and more, especially with a lot of 40, 50-year-olds are getting diagnosed with ADHD or autism, normally because their children are diagnosed, and then they're like, oh, hang on, could that be me too? And there's all these women that are walking out of a doctor's office and being told, oh, you have ADHD, but not being given any support around that. So to them, it's just a little boy jumping on his chair in a school and being hyperactive, when actually for women it's a completely different experience. And a lot of...
Sorry.
No, that's all right.
I'm just going to stop you there, because that's quite an interest. Why? Why is it a totally different experience? What does it look like for a woman that doesn't make it the same for everybody else?
It completely shows up differently. So racing thoughts, anxiety, the need to people please and fit in and mask. Women are... I think the why question for me and sort of my research, it shows that it's mostly because women grow up with more of a perception of the fact they should be quiet, they should sit still, whereas men, I think, are allowed to be a little bit more themselves, and potentially, I don't want to sound sexist, because a lot of men experience ADHD in a really debilitating, difficult way too, and mental health in general, actually, men do experience it in a really different way, but we have this perception of ADHD that it is bouncing on chairs and jumping up and having to have outbursts. For women, it's not that. Most of the hyperactivity, again, I don't agree with the label ADHD, because it's attention hyperactivity dysfunction, and firstly it's not a dysfunction, and secondly it's not actually a lack of attention. We have too much attention on too many things all at the same time, and that's why, like we were saying earlier, it really manifests in brilliant creativity. But I think that's why it's so different, is because women have more expectations of them. We grow up knowing that the social norm is for us to sit in a chair, be quiet, be a quieter individual in comparison to a man, I guess. A lot of the hyperactivity that they see in diagnosis is actually internal for a woman. So it's those racing thoughts. It could be impulsive spending. It could be masking.
Someone's getting uncomfortable. It's just get off the subject now. No, I just find that really interesting you say that, because quite obviously that can be put down to a lot of women's superpowers, a lot of women's attributes to being such great doers, great list checkers. Absolutely. Do you know what I'm trying to say to you? Whereas I always have understood it to be chaotic.
Yeah.
Like I would never have known it presented itself in those kind of like experiencing those kind of things that you've just said.
Absolutely.
To me, like, because I also thought it was ADHD was attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. That's what I understood. I never understood like the word disorder, but what's the deficit?
Well, so
What's
this
the
is the
deficit?
thing.
Like, I didn't know what that meant. Like,
Yeah.
and I've worked with, trust me, with a ton of people and a ton of children.
Yeah.
And this come up before, but...
So for me, and the clients I work with, so firstly, the point that you made about it being chaotic, that's actually the reason I chose my business name. So when I first floated the business name with people, they were like, kind of chaos, you can't put the word chaos in a therapy business, like you're trying to calm people down. And I was like, that is precisely why I want to put it in, because my aim is not to make someone this Zen person that climbs up mountains and does meditation, because it's just weird.
You
That's
just
my
actually
life.
described me, so always is me, and that is me. You just described.
I absolutely do meditate, right?
Yeah.
I love meditation. I love going on nature walks. I love all that. But my aim is to make it real for people in their real lives. Hypnotherapy is not me taking you in, and it is me calming you down, and it is a form of meditation. But I want this to be a realistic view of what someone's life actually feels like.
Yeah.
And an ADHD woman is not always chaotic. Sometimes they come across as really calm people with a really cool head, and then they go home and they cry to their partner because they've masked all day and built up all this horrible energy of I now don't know what to do with my energy because I've just tried to be calm all day. I've just tried to present myself in a corporate environment where I'm really chilled and I know exactly what I'm doing and I have everything covered, but in the background my house is a mess. I feel completely overwhelmed with the work I have on. It's there's two completely different sides to a lot of ADHD women. And when you speak about the deficit, in my opinion, this is not clinical, this is just my opinion, the deficit is dopamine. So
yes, now you're talking my language, because that's my
Yeah,
okay.
So for me, if I could rename ADHD tomorrow, I would I'd make it something about creativity, and I'd make it something about a dopamine deficiency, because that is what ADHD is. ADHD is a dopamine deficiency, which is why, and hopefully this isn't too much of a taboo or put too many people off, but periods and menstrual cycle is a freaking nightmare for women with ADHD, because estrogen...
Have one. Yeah, my eldest, I know exactly what you're going to say now, go on.
Yeah, estrogen is a protector of dopamine. So all month long, we have this lovely little bit of estrogen that keeps us ticking over. Suddenly hit your luteal phase, estrogen drops out, and all your dopamine just absolutely plummets. So, which I think we've probably all experienced that week before your period, where you're like, I could literally kill somebody and I feel depressed, I hate myself.
And to go as far as to try and get the dopamine hit, or use alcohol as a push to lift it and totally destroy and rewrite their life in a weekend. And then when that estrogen starts to come full cycle again, they're like, what the fuck have I done?
I've realised what I've done, which is why a lot of women who are now getting these late diagnoses of ADHD or other things, there's other sort of neurodivergent things that people get. Some people getting diagnosed with things like BPD suddenly because
what is that?
It's bipolar disorder, but it's not bipolar as we know it. It's not like bipolar as in people kind of being having two split personalities. It's just this I'm up, and then I'm down. And a lot of women have been diagnosed with things like bipolar, things like anxiety disorder, things like depression, and then 10 years later get an ADHD diagnosis, and all of that makes sense, and they've been put on the wrong medication, because actually depression medication is awful for someone with ADHD. It does the complete opposite to what you need it to do. So there's a lot of people who get diagnosed with that and then realise they've got ADHD and go, oh, okay, it makes sense now, stop all that medication, try and treat ADHD, and then things are better for them. But yeah, I think the dopamine thing is huge, and it's why a lot of women get to their 40s, 50s, have an alcohol or drug addiction, and then go, okay, get an ADHD diagnosis, maybe I should stop drinking, or maybe I should try and manage my drink, like you said. If I'm in a low place, or my estrogen's just dropped out and I now understand that cycle, I can go, okay, that's the reason I'm feeling crap. wine's not going to help.
Yeah.
Well, wine helps most things, but wine's not going to help. But it's just having that like awareness around the fact that like, okay, I know this week I've not gone crazy. My whole world hasn't fallen apart. My estrogen has just dropped out, and most women feel the same.
What is your view on meds? Because I've got a bit of an issue with labelling.
Yes.
As we've talked about
Yeah.
previously. But what are your view on meds and medication for these new diagnoses?
Yeah, so my own, I know it's really helpful to a lot of people, and I think a lot of people who get diagnosed late and don't, like I say, go into a doctor's office and the next day they walk out and they're thinking, oh my God, I've just been diagnosed with ADHD my whole life. I've not known why I feel different. I think meds are great for them and I think they have their place, but I think we are utilising medication instead of finding coaches and therapists and counsellors.
Can I add something?
Of course, yeah.
And root cause, because dopamine's made in the gut. And if people understood that a lifestyle change in order to treat the root cause of maybe like getting those dopamine levels up, not aggravating those dopamine drops so aggressively,
Yes.
through having their microbiome levels tested.
Absolutely.
And actually having the knowledge and the know-how through the science of how the body works and how like everything to do with the mind is made in the gut.
100%.
And nobody seems to realise this. No one talks about it. No one teaches you how to feed yourself adequately so that microbiome is on massive path where it needs to be.
Yes.
In order to support you.
Yeah.
And I sometimes feel that the medication's chucked in and it wrecks it even further, takes them even lower, which is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And obviously it's not new science that the brain gut axis is very much in place via the vagus nerve, central nervous system. And to be able to regulate your mind, your thoughts, your behaviour and your outcomes, somebody needs to start telling these people, listen, the rationale starts with what you put in your gut, how you treat your gut, 100%. How you feed your microbiome, because that's what works. That's how that starts.
You're feeding your mind.
Massively.
Like
100%.
we are literally absorbing shit.
No, it's great. No worries.
And I think that's really important to touch on medication, because I think a lot of people are looking for more natural ways of doing things. It's really current at the minute. But also people get stuck on medication, and it's like educating them that there are different things we could try.
That's something I ask you, is it something in your own experience with having ADHD or medication, or something that you have seen with your clients where it's a short-term plan?
Yes.
It's an intervention, or is it something that, like you've just said, do they just put you on it and monitor you, but then nothing ever changes?
Yeah, and I think the NHS has got better in terms of I might say they've got better, I hate to say that, but they've medicated people and referred them for therapy now. There is a much better pathway for ADHD. However, there is still a 7-year waiting list for adults. I've heard people get through it quicker, like teenagers who are at a real crisis point. I've heard them get through quicker. And obviously, if you want to go private, you'll get a much quicker diagnosis. But yeah, there's a 7-year waiting list on the ADHD waiting list currently. And I think people are self-diagnosing. I think people are finding stuff on social media and going, yeah, I think that might be me, and self-diagnosing, which, again, I'm not completely against. I hate to fence it. I'm not completely against. However, I do think that we now have like an epidemic of people who think they are ADHD. And my take on that is, if it helps the minority who do have ADHD to have some awareness around it, and it needs 20, 30 other people who don't have ADHD to say they have ADHD for those people to get awareness, then fine.
And I think there's a lot of self-diagnosis, and we were talking about on our last podcast anxiety and depression, and actually how anxiety is still a positive emotion, and we all go, oh my God, you've got anxiety? Oh no, that's really bad, but actually it's there for a reason.
We need it. Yeah. We absolutely need it, yeah. But I think that's where the role that medication plays, for me, like you say, I think at best it should be an intervention. It should be a this is what we're going to give you to get you out of where you're at, but you need to go and seek lifestyle change. You need to go and seek how you change like your gut microbiome, how you change the way you move, because a lot of these people are expecting change overnight by taking a pill, when in reality, if you want to be on medication for the rest of your life, that's fine. For me, that was never the answer.
Right.
I was on medication. I got medicated when I was 13 because I was at crisis point. When, as a 13-year-old, I said to Mum, I was on holiday with my mum, and I said to her, I feel like such a burden, I don't want to be here anymore. And for a 13-year-old to say that to you is big. And I think we knew there was a problem for a very long time. We knew I was different.
So can you tell me what that different, and I was a problem? Like, wow, that's a massive thing to call yourself.
Yeah, especially at the age of 13.
Like,
and I see 13-year-olds now.
What was that?
So I'm one of 4, and I'm the second to last child of 4 kids, and I have always and still am different to all my siblings. My mum knew I was different from the jump. She said she knew from when I was about 3 years old, and I had like ridiculous amounts of energy, and I'd constantly ask why. I'd cut everything she'd say to me, I'd go, why? But why? But why? And now that's one of my favourite attributes about myself, because I'm curious. I did a really amazing job in the corporate world because I was constantly saying to people, why? Why are we doing this? Why does this not work? Hang on a minute, so that didn't work this time. So why did it not work? And that I'm really proud of. I'm really curious, and I'm super creative. I'm a graphic designer. Lucy knows I'm a graphic designer and I work in marketing. I'm super creative. I think of ideas that people don't think of. Not to toot my own horn, but but yeah, I was always different from my siblings, and my mum said she literally from the jump knew that. But like many other parents that go through that process, thank God, they're so boring, my life. To have
that awareness for you was fantastic.
Exactly, and I think she never wanted to put a label on it. My mum's very into homeopathic remedies, finding other ways to do things other than medication. Yeah, she's great. She put me on different diets to try and help with my ADHD. I vividly remember being sent into school with crackers and tuna for the first time and thinking, what is this? But she was putting me on a specific diet to get more omegas in my diet and try and help my brain.
Feed your brain.
Which is absolutely amazing. And I think actually my mum holds a lot of guilt for not getting me diagnosed sooner. And I say to her all the time, you did what you could do with what you had at the time.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that is
with none of this scope of like, let's just Google it. Let's just do
exactly.
I mean, like, what a fantastic woman that she would actively learn and research and actually dug for those kind of things to be able to be providing
try and help.
To try and help you.
And that was great until it wasn't. And sadly, we did reach crisis point when I got to 13. She did, I did. We were both shattered. I was fighting with everyone in my family. I was getting to that stage where my hormones started to take play. So I've just found things more difficult. School was hard for me. I got diagnosed with dyslexia, which I now actually don't believe was. I don't think I am dyslexic. I think I just didn't have the focus to learn. And my school didn't realise that I had ADHD because I masked so well during the day. And then when I was 13, Mum took me to the doctors and they medicated me. And I was on medication until I was 16. So I was only on medication for 3 years. And
what did they give you?
I think it was called Concerta Excel. It's a type of Ritalin. It's a type of Ritalin. I was on that for a while. And when I finished my exams, when I basically only took them to get through my GCSEs, so I could sit and focus on GCSEs, and they worked for that period of time for that purpose. And everyone was saying, "Oh, you're so much better," but I didn't feel better. I felt worse.
What did you feel?
I lost my whole personality. That I had no. The only way I can explain it. This sounds really dramatic. The only way I can explain it was I felt like I was screaming on the inside, but I was completely emotionless on the outside.
Because then what they do is they suppress your reactions.
Absolutely.
They suppress your ability to communicate what you're feeling because they actually stop you from feeling anything at all, which is madness.
Horrific.
When you're treating someone that's already flatlined, isn't it?
Horrific.
And a child.
And a child. Yeah, and a child.
Yeah, and I think my mum still, to this day, being that sort of homeopathic person and really happy to like look at I can't find the word, I'm looking for a specific word, but I can't remember what it is. Not homeopathic, holistic approach. Yeah. She's always looking at the holistic approach. What in the body could be changing this? What can we work on? I think she really, that root cause, exactly that, what you spoke about. My mum, I think now feels really guilty for putting me on medication. As I say to her all the time, you did
sounds like a badass to me.
She is. She's 62.
When she's coming up.
She's got even stronger views than me. I'm just
love it.
Don't get on to that, please.
Gross.
We love a bit of that.
Fantastic.
So she feels really, still to this day, feels really guilty, I think, for putting me on meds. But I got home at the age of 16 and finished my exams and went, do you know what? I'm not doing these anymore, and I haven't touched any medication since. I don't really even take paracetamol. I'm not anti any of that. Like, I think they have their place for people that want to do that.
Yeah.
But now I eat really whole foods. I get out in nature every single day. I really prioritise the things that I know matter to me. And like I said, I think this time, even 2 years ago, I had done all that stuff and I knew what was good for me, but I was still trying to work in the corporate world, still trying to force myself into what everybody else wanted me to be. And
the narrative wasn't actually fundamentally geared up for you, was it?
Absolutely not. And I think even in the last year, I now work remotely, so I can come and do things like this on my lunch break, and I can go for walks, and I can take time out, and I love cooking. I can cook, and I can prep my meals for the week. So I've got healthy stuff in the fridge, and I think for me, I've realised that for me, that holistic approach and doing everything I can do to feed into the way my brain works, rather than trying to treat myself like everybody else. And that's what I do with my clients. It is just me teaching them to accept who they are. And yes, there are things about my brain. I put a social post up the other day. There's things about my brain, and there's days when I wake up and I think I would do anything to shut my brain up. I would do anything to pop one of those pills and just have silence for a minute. But I know that long term, that's not the solution for me. And I know that long term, the creativity and the personality and all of the things I gain from living the way I do and not taking medication, for me, are more beneficial, and the risk outweighs the reward. A specific time that's really hard for me is that luteal phase. I have like PMDD symptoms where I literally feel like I'm a completely different person. I feel like my personality is completely drained out of me. I play sport, so me and Lucy play netball together.
Nice.
And it was just, which is another way where I manage my ADHD, because I get out, I play rugby as well.
Someone's my running club, so I get it.
Yeah, I play rugby on Tuesday, I train rugby Tuesday and Thursday, and I play netball now on a Wednesday, which was the most daunting thing I've ever done. In March, went to netball and was like, hi guys, no one knows me, but
just
I'm just going to try. No, but they were great, and I quickly had to learn how to do it, and we just got on with it all together, which was great, and the guys were so supportive. But yeah, so that's another way I manage it, is just team sport. I don't go to the gym because we'll just get distracted and there's no point. I go and play team sport where I get that social aspect because I work from home on my own, and I get the team sport aspect where I know I'll show up because people are relying on me.
Love that.
So yeah, I think the general consensus on the medication thing is there are ways, if you want to find them, there are ways to live a really, really happy life. And that's what I would say to anyone whose child is going through a diagnosis process, because that's huge, isn't it? Like, a lot of my friends are teachers, and they're like, most of my class are going through diagnosis process. For whatever reason that is, whether they are or aren't neurodivergent, that's what I would say to like a parent. There are other ways.
There is a massive increase. I just wondered if you knew, I've got a bit of my own theory. I wonder if you asked your clients what it was like, their birth was like, or their parents, what their birth was like.
Yeah, so I often say to my clients, I get this question a lot, in terms of trauma, because a lot of people who have trauma are then diagnosed with ADHD. My view on it, from my research and just my understanding of it, is that genetics are the gun, and your environment and the things you go through in life are the trigger.
Okay.
That's how I see it. That's my view on
Yeah.
it. So I think some people are predisposed to have ADHD, autism. I hope you won't mind me saying, my dad is quite accepting of the fact that since I've been diagnosed, he probably has ADHD. And I think, and my other siblings don't. I'm one of 4 and I'm the only one who has ADHD. So I think that's the best way I can phrase it.
Yeah.
And did you have a different birth to your siblings?
My mum had a really traumatic pregnancy. She lost her mum in the January and I was born in the July. So she had a really traumatic pregnancy, and she, to a certain extent, attributes it to that, I think. Again, bless her, she's always saying how guilty she feels, but as I say, did the best you could with what you had.
Yeah. Do you know what I would say to your mum? That she needs to think of that guilt as love. Because when you love someone enough to show up and try and make it accountable, to be accountable, to take responsibility, and to actually never give up trying to find a way forward.
Yeah.
I think realistically, what she's talking about is love.
Yeah.
It's not guilt. It's love in somebody so much that they would do anything to take it from you. Yeah. And what she's desperate to communicate is that it's not you.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't see it as you. You are just you to her. Yeah. She loves you in your entirety. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think you're brave. I've got to tell you, I think you're really brave. It's hard to change. If it was easy to change, we would all do it. To change when you're wanting to fit into a world where you work that has a narrative that has to be a certain way in corporate, like you say.
100%.
To have the understanding that doesn't work for you and you need to change it, then take those steps to change it, and then think, well, actually, this works. If I say something, this is going to change something for somebody else. Massive.
Yeah, and it's my business is very fresh. I've already had so many messages from people I went to school with, people I don't know, just being like, just thank you for being so open. And it's a really vulnerable place. Every time I post a video, every time I post something, coming on here today, I was like, this is a vulnerable place. This is all of my this is a decade for me of sitting on it and understanding my own brain and trying to learn what this means for me and where I fit in the world. And if I don't fit in that corporate life and that narrative, then where do I fit? What works for me? And so I just found my own way of like, I'm going to make the place that I fit.
I think that goes for most people though. Like ADHD, neurodiverse, who you want to say, people are always searching to find where they fit.
Yeah.
It's like a long current, isn't it? 100%. And being able to identify where you don't is great, but then where do I fit from there?
Yeah, and I think there's, like, I got to a stage where I didn't even know what I liked anymore. Couldn't even walk into a shop without, like, looking at some clothes that I'm like, oh, I like that. I didn't even know what I liked because I had masked for so long and I had tried to fit in for so long.
You lost who you were.
100, and I'm not sure I ever knew who she was because I'd done this from so young.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, I'd done it for so long, I didn't know any different. It's literally taken me, my amazing therapist, she's local actually, but it's literally taken me, when I went back to therapy after I left that job and I was in the lowest place of my life, I'm not sure my family even know this, but at one point I called Samaritans because I genuinely did not know where to turn, and it was like I'd gone right back to that 13-year-old girl, and I was like, I don't know where to turn. I'd left another job, so I essentially I was in the local job, left that because I had a really horrible narcissist boss, went straight into another job because I had a mortgage and I needed to pay my mortgage. It was awful, had to leave, was so burnt out. I think I hadn't really resolved the trauma and everything that got into the first job. I left that job and I literally, the minute I called the woman up and said, I'm leaving, I was sitting on the sofa like, now what? Like, literally, now what? Where do I fit? I can't keep a job. What do I do? And it's not that I couldn't keep a job. They loved me. They thought I was great because I would bend backwards and do whatever they wanted.
At the cost of you.
Yeah.
At the cost of you.
And we actually even spoke about it last night. I think we were chatting to one of the girls at netball and we were like, the only thing Lucy said, only thing you can control is looking after yourself. And I think that was the realisation for me. It was like, okay, hang on a minute. No one else's opinion matters. And that is something, when you say, like, my mum's really brave and it comes from a place of love, that is something I attribute to her. My mum has always advocated for me. There is not a single time in my life where she has not advocated for me. And she's taught me to advocate for myself. So in that moment, whilst I was sad and I didn't know what to do and I didn't know where to turn, and I did call Samaritans because I was like, I don't want to speak to anyone I know about this.
Yeah.
I was so low, I was in such a low place that I got off that phone and I made the decision, I'm always going to advocate for myself and I'm never going to put myself in a situation like that again. And I was absolutely skint for the next 2 months. I had no money, I had no job. Thankfully, my parents are lovely and supported me and said, you don't need to go rush back into work. Take some time, work out what it is you want to do.
Who are these?
Oh, they're the best. They're the best. I'm very lucky. And I think that's the other thing that I have to recognise is that when someone comes into my therapy room, they don't always have that.
No.
Yes.
Huge, yeah.
I've been really lucky. I'm really, really lucky. My rugby lot are like my tribe. They're like half of them are ADHD too, so they get it. And yeah, and the netball girls, like I've always got people around me, and not everyone has that.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big thing. And my circle's got way smaller. I don't mess around with people that I think you spoke about it on last week's podcast actually, like, or maybe the week before. I don't surround myself with people who make me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, if they're not your
Life's too short, your people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with that anxiety thing, it depends. Sometimes I spend time with people and I come home and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so drained. You've just drained the life out of me.
Energy vampires, yeah. They're the best.
Yeah.
The best. They're the best. If you see me mute, which is very rare and I'm going in the opposite direction, it's because I've spotted them coming.
Yeah, where we live's worse for that. Yeah. You're like, I just see everyone. I went to school here, so I just see everyone like that. So yeah, I'm the same. Don't like, no, see me. But yeah, I think it's about the people you surround yourself with, what you put in your body, how much you move. For me, my biggest thing that I would say to people is there is a solution and it doesn't have to be in a medication bottle.
Yeah, I agree.
If that works for you, then fine. I'm not here to judge. If that's what someone wants and someone comes into my therapy room and says, I want some help alongside therapy, alongside medication,
Of course.
Yeah.
each to their own. But
it has to be though, like you say, because that's actually what you're advocating for, is the fact that it's such an individual thing.
Yeah.
You know, that realistically they've got to do their own exploration, and they have people like you that they can go and have that, like go and sort of have that journey with, or get started with.
Yeah, and if they ask my opinion, I'll always give it. Like if someone says to me, what are your thoughts? I'll always say it didn't work for me. This is how I felt on them. But if it does work for you, then great. There's plenty of people who I know it does work for. Yeah. So I'm kind of like, okay, if that works for you, then fine. But that's my massive thing, is that you always have a choice. Like, there is always other options.
With the choice, it's the thing.
Yeah, and this is the thing. I genuinely think society leads us to believe we don't have a choice.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
And of course, it benefits them. I'm not going to praise that, but it benefits people to not let you think you have a choice. But there is always a choice. You just have to look in the right places. I think
I quite like you and Mum's come on.
Yeah,
that choice.
Definitely. Yeah.
We always have choices.
Come on, Michelle. When you come.
Yeah, come on, Michelle.
I think also it's the fact that you didn't give up. You never gave up on yourself. Like, that's a huge choice.
But that's down to Mum. She never gave up on me either.
Yeah.
So I've learned.
Yeah, but she's led by example. Yeah. Massively.
Me and Mum don't always agree. Like, there's some things that she's got opinions on that I don't, and that's fine. But that is what she's taught me, is you always advocate for yourself, no matter how tired and on the ground you are. Find some ounce of strength inside you somewhere.
Yeah.
Because no one else is going to do it. No matter how much you think someone cares about you, they can't advocate for you the same way you're going to advocate for yourself.
Yeah, I totally agree. So if someone's feeling lost right now, what would your nugget of advice be to them?
I think it would just be, I think that's a great one, never give up on yourself, because you are the only person that cares as much as you can about yourself. And in the moments where you don't, there's always, I think everyone's had that moment where they're like, I just don't care anymore. I don't know what to do and I don't care anymore. There is always somebody out there who has had the same experience and can offer you help or assistance or advice, whatever it might be. And my biggest thing was you always have a choice. You don't have to hate yourself. You don't have to subscribe to this, like, oh, she's chaotic, scatty, blah, blah, blah. You can say, no, I'm not chaotic, scatty, difficult, sensitive, I'm strong,
Oh, we love the sensitive word in this room, let me tell you. When did sensitivity become an issue?
It's empathy.
Sensitivity is the fundamentals of everything, surely.
It's empathy, isn't it?
Yes.
It's empathy for each other. It's not sensitivity. And I don't think I'd be able to do the job I'd do if I wasn't sensitive.
No.
Because I have to understand, I have to sit there and understand what someone's going through at the end of the day. And sometimes people come into my little cabin and I can't relate to what they're going through. And I have to find some sort of empathy, because I don't just work with people with ADHD, I work with people with health anxiety, like general anxiety. You have to, if we could all, that's my nugget. I tell you what, that's my nugget.
Yeah,
if we could all just find some sort of empathy or kindness for everybody we meet, the world would be a much better place.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree with you.
I agree.
And I think we try and squeeze them into our own agendas and our own what we want them to be. Whereas if we just met people where they were,
But don't you think that's what's wrong? Do you not think, like you say about the amount, I mean, like when you put the figures out there earlier, my mind was going, oh, bloody hell, that's a lot of people. Like, to me, it actually sounds to me like the world, that the place that the rest of the world are trying to fit into that. Like, maybe they've got it wrong.
And this is what I say. So I have a lot of clients, actually, I've worked with this lady for the last 6 weeks. And when she first came into me, the first thing she said to me, I won't mention names, I can say this because we don't know who she is, but the first thing she came into me and said was, I don't think I'm reaching my full potential, and I want to work with you I want to reach my full potential, even like to spark my ADHD, and I want to do more, was what she was saying. And the first thing I said to her was, what if you did less? So what if you did less? And it was just, the work we've now done for the last 6 weeks is just me shaping for her what it looks like to just accept who she is.
Yeah.
And actually she's uber productive, but she doesn't think she's being productive because she's marking herself on nobody, because no one actually has a frame of reference for what anyone else does in their own time. We all think that everyone.
We joked yesterday, you're all day in my shoes, mate, good luck.
Yeah.
Because like nobody knows what that, you can't.
Unless
you don't know.
No.
You don't know.
You don't, like, you guys might think, oh, she's well busy, she's always putting videos up, she's always doing this. You don't know that actually I batch a load of videos, go and lay on my sofa for 2 hours every evening because that's a priority for me.
Yeah.
Like, none of us know. None of us know what someone else is doing.
That because
I need it. That's what I know I need.
That's because what you know you need. And that's what that looks like. That's what that looks like. Do you not think that needs communicating?
So this is what I say to most of my clients. It is literally just me saying, like, okay, so what do you need in this situation? And they'll come to me and say, oh, but this person's doing that and I just feel like I can't fulfill my evening. I can't do enough in my evenings to, like, make my business work. And I'm like, do you not think everybody is juggling everything?
Yeah.
That is life. We are all, I don't know if you've seen that podcast episode on someone else's podcast, quite a big podcast, of like all these little cups of like your life, your family, your work. And they say that it's basically impossible to fill all of them. Yeah. You cannot. You have to make a choice. What's most important to me out of these cups? Is my family the most important thing? Because all the while you're pouring all your water into that, there's another cup that's running low, because that is life. We spend our whole life spinning these plates and juggling things. And when I think acceptance is
no plates and I do juggle family. My family be juggling like my family. But I just think, like, you sort of, I agree with what you're saying there. But who are they holding themselves up against? Like, can I just tell you?
We can't, because we don't know everyone else's life.
Constantly doing it, aren't they?
Do you think? I'm not. I must fall up because, like, I'm having to learn to do TikTok to get my ass in gear. So I'm alone in this workload, right? But I'm not watching. I couldn't care less.
But it's not about watching though, is it?
But I think that's because you're awake to this. Like you just said it. Everybody is comparison is the thief of all joy. And as soon as people come into literally the first thing I say to most people is, who are you marking yourself against?
Yeah.
It's learning what works for you.
It happens a lot. I got a message last night, quite a distressful message from a lady last night. She said, I won't say what she said, but she was saying, I just want to be strong like you. And I was like, but I'm not always strong. I can be on my knees. You've had many phone calls me sobbing my heart out over some things that would probably seem immaterial to others. But it's that perception that this is how this person is, this is how this person is. And you think, well, but you don't know.
But how does she not know that that is strength? She recognises that she has something in her that she'll know what it is that needs to be looked at or explored or
seen or heard, I think.
Yeah, but seen and heard. And the first thing she's done is said to somebody, regardless of who that somebody is, I could do with that. How is that not strength? Isn't that what we're talking about? Like, that's what strength is, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think,
like, even having the self-awareness.
Yeah, I think though, but for her, it was like, when she was saying her messages, I want to be you. She wasn't saying I'm strong. She's saying I want to be you because you've managed to cope. I'm not coping. And I think that's where people get things wrong, is I don't always cope. And a lot of my life has been not coping. And it's a lot about the work and putting that daily work in. It doesn't just go, all right, I've gone to therapy, I'm all right now. It's about continuing that daily grind of work. And sometimes I look at it and think, oh, fucking hell, I ain't doing that today. And I'm like, want to day in bed. Do you know what I mean? But that's okay.
Yeah.
Do you do that?
But owning that. 100%. And I think that's huge.
You never stay in bed for the day, do you?
Never stay in bed, no.
I mean, actually, no. This time, like 2 years ago, I wouldn't have. But even a couple of months ago, I got poorly, and it was a big learning thing for me because I was like, oh my god, I'm really I only had the flu, but I was laying in bed and I was like, I know what I need right now. This time 2 years ago, I'd gone to work.
I love you, no.
But
yeah, I was just a few years ago.
No, it was COVID. But yeah. Yeah. Oh my god. So yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, I got to the point where I was like, do you know what? I just need a day. I just need a few days in bed. And I called in sick to work, which I would have never done. I think I had 100% attendance record at my old work. And now I look at that. Most people would be proud of that. Now I look at that and I'm like, oh my God, at my own expense, I was going into work when I felt like crap. And I know that seems like a really small thing for most people.
No, that's real self-love. That's real self-love.
Acceptance. Acceptance is the biggest word for me. And it's accepting that just because Joe Bloggs goes to work every day and has 100% attendance record, it doesn't mean that works for you. Yeah. It doesn't mean that, my brain some days...
So permission maybe as well.
Yeah. And I've, funny enough, had that conversation with a lot of clients where they just said, I feel like you've given me permission to actually rest and enjoy myself, enjoy my life.
I love that.
And my response is always, I've done nothing. You have given yourself permission.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have come in here to prioritise this hour every week and come in here. You've given yourself permission to rest, to enjoy time with your kids without feeling guilty you're not working, whatever it might be. It manifests differently in everyone's life.
Of course.
But I think that's the biggest thing is just, no, I don't really sit still. Like I say, I play 2 sports. I'm always on the go. I do something every evening. I've got a client on Monday night, Tuesday night I train, blah, 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 all every week. But I now know when that flag's going where it's like, you're slipping down to burnout, you need to relax.
So you'll factor that in and you schedule that in.
Yeah, and I think everyone needs that. I don't think that's just exclusive for people with ADHD, but people with ADHD do genuinely have less self-esteem, so they find it easier to bend over backwards for people. There's this
that's interesting. They have less self-esteem.
They definitely, yeah. I mean, I can't speak if you can't generalise, but there's a stat out there that says that 20,000 children by the age of 12 have had 20,000 more negative comments from teachers, parents, and their neurotypical peers than neurotypical people. So you can imagine that by the time I got diagnosed when I was 13, my self-esteem and confidence was just completely shot. I literally had no confidence, and I did that. What you were just saying about just wanting to be like somebody else. In every situation I was ever in, would find someone to mould myself on, or little bits from people to mould myself on, and that was, it's tiring. I left conversations, and for a long time, so that sort of happened for the first few years of school, and then I'd come home and I'd be an absolute terror at home because I'd masked all day, so I was shattered when I got home. Then when I got to sort of teenage years, that manifested in going out drinking, even though I didn't really want to be out drinking. It manifested in me looking for attention in boys and being that like typical pick me girl where it's like, I'm going to wear that because that's what X likes, whoever. And it then manifested in that, and then it manifested in I'm going to be the perfect corporate person. So it was all these little, like, in every era of my life, when I look back,
those little nuances that you did.
I was always masking. I was always comparing or trying to be like someone else. And then every workplace I'd go into, I'd make friends with someone, and then I'd be like, okay, so they have this quality that I really like, I'm going to try and do that. And it's only been like the last 2-3 years where I've really just given myself permission to learn what I like, and that took a long time. But yeah, I think we do admire things in the people we're around. If we don't admire things in the people we're around, we're not around the right people, right? Like, I don't tend to spend time with people I don't admire things in. Because
I'm interested to know, like, what you look like. What is it you like now? Tell me.
It's taken a long time to learn it. But yeah, like,
what are the things you like?
I love nature. I love cooking. I love spending time with my husband. I'm a stay-at-home girl. I'm not a massive going out person, although I've got a bottomless brunch and a blooming rugby night out booked this month, which is a lot for me in a month. But like, at the age of 28, I'm not going doing all the things that all my friends are doing because I don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
And it's over. Like, I can go
and that's okay.
Yeah.
But that's okay, right?
Yeah.
Just because that's what. But now
I think there's others in that group that don't enjoy it, but do it because they feel they have to.
Yeah. And when I do go out, I go out with the right people. I drink if I want to drink. If I don't want to drink, I don't drink. When I do go out and drink, I really enjoy myself because I'm doing it because I want to do it. I'm not doing it because everyone else wants to do it. I don't like fair to peer pressure anymore. Like, I'm not going to be like, okay, I'll do that because you're doing that. If I go out and I do drink, I drink the drinks I want to drink. Like, it got to the point where I wouldn't even know what to order in a cafe because I'd walk in and someone else would order something and I'd go, oh yeah, I'll just have what she's having. And I'm not a shy person at all. Like, I'm happy to speak to people, but my whole personality was moulded off what everyone else around me was doing. So yeah, for me, it's just, I actually really enjoy a slow life. I enjoy doing things at home with my husband. I enjoy playing rugby, playing netball, going out with my pals when I fancy it. If I don't fancy it, I don't go.
Yeah, perfect.
So yeah, I think that's where I'm at with it. Just, I'm still learning what I like, and that evolves and changes.
I think we always do, don't we? And it changes. We go, as women, I think we very, very much go through different phases. Everything changes.
Yeah.
You know, with every milestone, everything changes, I think. But there's, I can totally relate because obviously I've been a mum since I was 17.
Wow.
So for me, everything like you put forward, do you know what I mean? Like, you just,
Both been mums since 17.
Yeah.
How weird is that?
I'm just about, we're thinking about having children in the next year or two, so I'm just about getting to that stage where I'm like, but I'm 28, so that's very young. So I'm not sure I could have managed it at 17. I was a wreck.
I don't think I managed it very well.
It's just
great. It's been so lovely.
Thank you so much
for coming on. We'd love to have you back. And if you want to bring mum next time,
I'm sure she'd love that. We'd be all day.
I think what you're doing is incredible.
Yeah,
I think even opening up the conversation, but actually living example of actually what's possible for people that quite possibly are at the end of their rope, like you say, through things that are going on that there are not seem to be very well, like you say, with the waiting list is 7 years. I mean, my God, that's something's got to change. And I think the message and the example you're leading by, I think is incredible. For somebody who's only been here 28 years.
I feel older.
Yeah. I think that's amazing. I think you're doing an incredible job. And thank you for talking to us, because there's a lot of things that we've discussed today that I was not aware of.
Yeah. And authentic living is hard.
Oh, everybody is doing it.
Yes, they would. And they're not.
No, they're definitely not. And we will talk about that when Tash comes back on.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for joining us all, and we'll see you next Tuesday.